let's move away from talking about the foliage and get back to what we were working on a few moments ago, and that was this bocage. Just to recap briefly, we got the foam down, painted it black, got the rock down, it's hardened and has a coat thanks to the glue. Of course, I should bring this in. I used the Weld Bond glue, Weld Bond, dries clear, so this was actually completely white when it was laid down, and then hence dries, retaining the color and giving it a little bit of a coat, so not to chip away. Put down the scaffolding or the wire mesh, added a little variation, added a bump in, and it's rock solid. It's not going anywhere. I can put whatever. I can put anything on top. It's not going to break off. I'll cover it after. There's a reason why I love to build this on almost every tile or a lot of the tiles, and that's in terms of it. You wouldn't think about it, but it helps with storage. It's a real fantastic storage feature or saving technique, and a lot of people ask me about how I store them. Well, the secret is I don't store them. These all belong to somebody already. I don't have anything that I own, but when they get them, I let them in on the secret about how to store the tiles so they don't take up, in this case, 42 square feet of your home. So let's get back to this. We're all set, ready to start laying the foliage down. Got the glue gun all heated up. I stuck a band-aid on my finger because it was a little bit sore from the glue, so avoid getting any hot glue, but I also covered the whole finger because this is the finger I use to press in all the foliage. I use one finger to hold, one finger to press, so to avoid getting any further glue on my finger, I got a band-aid on there, and that's an idea you can use. Another good thing is a thimble. You can use a sewing thimble just to press it in, that way you keep the glue off your fingers. I also use a cordless glue gun. When you're working, the last thing you want to do is have a cord running and eroding or varnishing away your grass, so cordless glue guns are fantastic and I really enjoy it. You can also get into spots without having the weird cords dangling all over everything, so that's a handy feature. So when I actually start laying down hopefully that's in view, when you actually start laying down the foliage, I do it in 5 sections. I lay a bottom layer on each side, so we'll call that 1 and then 2. Then I go midway up, that'll be 3, on the other side is 4, and then I do a top or capping layer 5. And that's how I do all of it. If you want to cover one side, that's completely up to you. The reason that I do 2 layers, both on the bottom, is I can actually continue to see what's happening on the inside. So when I lay this layer and then this layer, and I press them together, the glue actually holds, so this foliage is actually pulling on this foliage over here, this foliage is actually pulling on that foliage. And it's actually pulling it in, so it's the opposite of what I talked about when the foliage wants to pull out from each other. The glue actually keeps it stuck together, and it ropes in your foliage, keeps it a little more contained. Otherwise what can happen is your rock layer's here, and your foliage actually billows out over the rock, and you can never see any of the underlying rock. So that's why I do it like that. Another thing, just before I start, I know I'm delaying, I get a little tray, and I pull out the 2 colors. In this case I'm using a medium and a light, and I throw it in the tray. I give it a couple quick squeezes to break up some pieces, and then that way when I'm grabbing, I'm not consciously taking from one bag too much or the other bag too much. I lay it in a tray, I mix it up, and I grab it. As I grab it, that's how I lay it. Very seldom will I go looking for a certain piece or a certain color, unless it happens to catch my eye that, hey, I really need to put a light green or a medium green in this spot. So mix it up in a tray, add some randomness to it, and away you go. Doesn't matter, you can start from the end, start from the low end, high end, doesn't matter. Work in about maybe 1.5 to 2 inch sections. So start laying in your, hopefully you can see this, start laying down your glue. Lay it just along the rock. Don't go out over all your rock, and don't worry if you get some up onto the mesh. That's what it's for. Now you're going to grab your pieces. Start with a medium in this case. Spread it out a little bit with your fingers, lay it over, hold it in place. There's the holding finger. Next piece, gonna go light green. That's what I grabbed. Go in. Next one happens to be medium. Keep laying. Press it down into your rocks. You want it to creep over the rock so that it looks like it's encroaching or growing over. Now, a lot of people will say bocage does not have exposed rock. That is true in a lot of cases. Old bocage will not have any exposed rock. It's since grown all over. It's sand, it's dirt, it's mud, its foliage is grown over. I like to still model it with a little bit of rock because it makes it look nice. So you can choose to have your foliage go flush to the ground with absolutely no rock. That's completely up to you. You can use all the same techniques minus using the rocks. If you want to model it like I do, then model it with a little bit of rock showing at the bottom. That's up to you. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let me tell you otherwise. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. What you think looks good is what you should do. So, again, just doing another layer. Shake that off. Let's throw there. Go for the next one. Okay, pulling out this one. And if you mix it together, sometimes you'll grab a piece that has both colors already pre-mixed for you. Awesome. Just keep working your way along. Pushing it down into all of the areas. Make sure you're checking to make sure you have all the all the glue covered. You do not want to have any big glue dots showing, so careful that you don't put down a whole bunch and have it run all down onto the grass below. So just keep pressing it in, hold it, grab your next piece. You only need to hold it for about 5 seconds and then it's pretty much good to go. Another good thing about the mesh is when you push the let's see if I can show you here. When you push the foliage into, here's a piece here. When you push the foliage in with the glue, what happens is, you can see on the inside here, it actually goes through the mesh and holds on to the wire, giving you an even better bond, and then hence keeping it in place longer. So as you can see, or maybe you can't, but hopefully you can see we've started at the bottom layer, working your way around, and we're going to continue on the end. I'll finish this whole piece up just so you can see what it looks like. On the end, I like to trail off the rock. A little bit of rock there that wasn't quite in place, so I'll just use the hot glue to get it all held up. The hot glue is great because it's relatively cheap to work with. It's definitely cheaper than crazy glue, and you don't need crazy glue for this stuff. I'm not even sure if it would work that well. It would probably leave a white residue on most of it, which would be kind of unsightly. Put a little more down in there. And you notice I always twist off. That's just to get rid of these little cobwebs that occur on the glue from the glue gun itself. So I like to just twist it off on the wire. That way I don't have them strung all across the other terrain features. Then just give that a press down. That's the end there. So as you can see, I've sloped it down. In the bottom of your tray, as you keep grabbing pieces, you're going to end up with a bunch of small little bits that are like so small you really don't think you can use anything for them. These are awesome for the top layer. It gives you a wicked nice blend on the top. Also for these little bits on the end, when you get down here, using the small stuff is really good because it allows you to have that nice slope transition.